Football's over, but sports are still going strong, especially the Winter Olympics.
It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
Welcome back to SportSense, the Season 2, Episode 26. I'm Cooper Epps, here to learn about sports from my dad, James Epps. How's it going, Dad?
Good, Coop. I'm ready. Love the Olympics.
The Olympics are great, but I am fired up, and I'm going to try not to say anything too xenophobic about countries across the world. But daggone, there's been a lot of cheating and scandals this year, and from a couple countries in particular, but mostly stinking Canada. So we're going to get into some of those stories. And look, I know the athletes and the coaches and stuff, they don't represent the entirety of Canada.
I agree. I'm going to balance it. I want to say, hey, we love Canadians. We love the people. Just want to say we love the people. Okay, go do your thing.
Hey, and my favorite podcast is Two Canadian Guys. So yeah, we love Canadians for sure. But we'll get into it. There's a couple stories that just have me shaking my head. And so first, of course, we got to do one mailbag. We got a few things sent to us, but this is the one I thought we should make time for today. So tell me if you heard about this, Dad. College basketball player Duncan Powell suspended after flagrant foul against St. John's player. And sorry, that didn't sound that dramatic. The meme that was sent
he's a Providence player. He's a Providence.
Yes.
Providence, right? Yeah.
Yep. So the meme that I was sent said that he was arrested after this foul, which was just 100% clickbait because I fact checked that. He was not arrested, but he was suspended for several games. For those who haven't heard this, there's one college called Providence in Rhode Island was playing another team called St. John's. Where are they, Dad?
New York.
New York. Okay. I think they're both Catholic schools. I don't know if they have a rivalry or what, but this guy, Duncan Powell, while a St. John's player was going up for a dunk, and Powell literally grabs the guy's face and pulls back and twists his head. And so just flinging him to the ground by the head. So obviously terrible, terrible foul. And basically immediately it turned into a brawl between the teams, and refs and coaches were all trying to stop it, but it was chaos.
I got the still shot of that, by the way, I'm looking at. And it's a double hand on the face. I mean, he's way above him, and he's about to break his neck.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Super dangerous. I can't believe he didn't get suspended for longer. But
I've never seen a foul like that before.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Suspended 3 games.
Yeah, and apparently I think 2 of those were by Providence. I don't think those were even by the NCAA. Yeah. The official penalty was just 1 game from the NCAA. So that's kind of crazy to me. I feel like it should be longer for that kind of behavior. I also do want to call out, just so you guys can picture this guy a little bit more, he has what's called a skullet. Have you heard of that term, Dad?
I hadn't, but I saw it, and I thought there's something wrong with him right there.
It's where Macy and I saw it on a cooking show we watched too. Another guy had a skullet there. It's where you shave or are bald, but you shave everything except literally this patch on like the back of your neck, like the very back, like the bottom of your head,
your bottom,
and you grow that out, and that's called a skullet. So this guy has a skullet and a chin goatee.
It's hard. You're not supposed to judge a book by the cover, but at least by his actions and the cover of the book, this looks like this game should have been played in Sing Sing prison. That's where he looks like he should be starting on their starting basketball team.
Yeah, he's a tough looking dude.
Now, granted, if we were playing on a pickup game, I'd want him on my team. I wouldn't want to play against him, just to get that out there,
Right. You do not want to be on this guy's bad side. So anyways, the final note on this is, as he was being escorted out of the stadium, the crowd was cheering for him, and he raised his hands up and they started chanting his name, apparently. So anyways, Providence, they've got a bit of a mean streak over there, apparently.
I never known them prior to be like that, but boy, they got somebody there.
All right, so that's the only bit of college basketball news we'll talk about. For the local BYU fans, I'm sure you're all caught up on our big guy who got injured, which is heartbreaking for that team.
Sick. I'm so sick.
Yeah. But let's focus on Olympics tonight.
All right.
Or today. So we got to get into a little bit of sports speak. Let us learn some sports speak. This week's term is Crotchgate. Have you heard this term, Dad?
Well, no, but I can only imagine. I know what the issue is. I didn't know that's the name that has now been applied.
Well, there's a slightly more crude.
I'm sure. So thank you for giving me the cleaned up version.
Yeah, but it's the news outlets are kind of split on which one they're using, so I'll use the slightly more polite one. So Crotchgate is in reference to long ski jumping is the event. So basically, it's this things where the skiers, they bomb these giant hills, go up off the ramp, and fly like flying squirrels as far as possible before landing the jump. And so that's all the event is. So it's whoever goes the farthest. Now, in these, we've talked about how the NFL is a one-score league. In the Olympics, it's kind of like a game. Everything's a game of milliseconds and centimeters and millimeters because everything is so close. All these athletes are so world-class, best of their class, you know? So any little advantage can help you win. So in this case, Crotchgate is in reference to this January, Norway ski jumping team was temporarily banned from the competition after they were found to have altered their athletes' suits with extra crotch stitching at last year's Nordic World Ski Championships. So that's a quote from Scientific American. Basically they got in some hot water in the past year for that. So apparently this stitching was just enough to keep them in the air just that tiny bit longer. Now there was so basically that got everybody kind of suspicious for this year. There's a close eye being kept. What I found interesting is when getting ready for the games, your suits are measured by laser. So everything is extremely precise and has to be tailored to your the exact specifications of your body. So literally laser precision of the measurements here. Now, the thing that people are talking about, suspicious of, are some of these athletes, the male athletes, being injected with size enhancing fluids so that at that measurement like phase, they can get allowed a little bit more fabric basically when their final suit is made.
Yeah.
And that final little bit of fabric, again, giving them just that tiny bit more loft in the end. So that is, I don't think anything's been confirmed yet, or anybody's been accused yet, but that's the word on the street, and that's what judges and all these whoever people are looking out for. So kind of crazy, huh?
Very crazy. So I just don't even know what to say about that.
Well, it brings up a larger.
I hadn't heard the additional part about working way ahead versus just trying to pack your suit or something. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is, they will tailor the suit to your body exactly, and so when those measurements are taken, that's where that they just found that as another opportunity that they could cheat. So there. Again, these aren't confirmed, and so, but I am going to get into a couple stories where there has been cheating this Winter Olympics, and so I wanted to ask you, Dad. I want to get your perspective on this. I know the kind of man you are, but I just want to understand the train of thought that leads to an Olympic team or an Olympic athlete to cheat. So, like, let's say you're a Winter Olympic athlete, or you're just an Olympic athlete. How are you rationalizing cheating? What could possibly be the logic going on in your head?
Seeing that I wouldn't cheat is hard for me to imagine. Other than I think my perspective and assumption is, like all things in life, the more intense, the more something squeezes, you find out the true nature of an individual. So you're talking about the most important, in these people's mind, the most important event of their life they're building to, and they're being squeezed, right? This is the ones who cheat. They're being squeezed, and what's coming out is their character, and they have character flaw. They have there's a character flaw in there. So if someone has this flaw in them that they'll cheat, probably means they'll lie. There's a character flaw in there, and the more intense the pressure is, the more apt that flaw will make itself known. And my part I have a problem with some of this is the premeditation of some of this cheating. to me, then that shows you it's just then maybe I don't know enough about the sport. Is this sport's kind of like the old saying in baseball, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? The old, if you're trying to steal the signals, or if you're trying. So in baseball, there used to be a kind of they call cheating is stealing the signals of the other team. But if the other team's dumb enough to use signals where you can figure them out and cheat, steal them anyway. So to me, it's just evidence of a character flaw. And as the pressure increases, the more that flaw will come out, and people will sell their soul. If for some of them, this is their big time, either this Olympics or how many Olympics they'll be in. It also is their chance to have not just glory and to feed their ego, but it's a financial gain. If you're a gold medal winner, you usually get to have some sort of big financial, good size financial reward, be it going on tour, talking, speaking, being on every show, Good Morning America, they pay you $100,000 to come on, whatever. You then get the financial reward. So some people and then I think there's a rare few who just have no moral. They're amoral. They don't feel bad, or they don't feel like they're even cheating. They're just they figure out a way that they can enhance their ability to win. So rules aren't for them. That's another thing you'll find about people. Rules aren't for them.
Right.
So it's not for them as long as they don't get caught. They don't have a moral feeling about it, I don't think.
Well, let's get into a Canadian that I think maybe fits the description here. And so one of the biggest stories of this past week, massively memed, talked about all over the social media. Thanks for that. That was a great analysis, Dad. But but
let's get to the juicy fun part, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I understand the flow here, but I understand my role.
Well, this Canadian guy, I don't have his name pulled up, and maybe we don't need to pull it up, but if you look up Canadian curler, it'll come up. So speaking of curling, I'm going to see if we can get a little audio tidbit from your grandson, Sealy, my nephew.
Got to get a shout out to Sealy. He is all over this curling.
I didn't know that, but Mom called me a little bit ago and said Sealy has been crazy about curling this Olympic season. Yeah. So apparently he's got a lot to say about it. We'll try to get a soundbite of him on here.
He's 9 going on 10, right? I can't remember. Is he 10
or
already 10? But yeah, that's his age, just to give you an idea. Anyway.
So if not today, we'll try to get a bit from him for next week as we wrap up the Olympic conversation. But yeah, Canada, basically one of their athletes, he got caught. If you don't know curling, it's where you have the big round stones that you scoot down the ice, and people are like brushing the ice in front of it, trying to get to go certain directions, and you're basically trying to hit a bullseye.
I got to interject something before you get to the juicy stuff.
Okay.
I just watched this video clip. Do you know this is one of my tidbits. Do you have a daddy's tidbits?
I don't.
This is the perfect daddy's tidbits. Nice. There are only 10 people in the world who make the stone in which they use in curling, in which they slide down the ice. It's made out of granite, and it comes from one island for the Olympics anyway, the ones they use. It's one island. I can't remember, it's Norway, whatever down, and they go and harvest and bring back. This is where they get their stones. It's granite. And they got these big blocks they bring back, and you ought to see how they make it. But I get fascinated by this. The finished product is 40 pounds of perfectly honed granite. But it's got to be, and it is late, just like things you've talked. It's laser driven now, the way they do it now. It is like the whole unit is 41 pounds because the handle that fits down top is 1 pound, but the stone itself is 40 pounds, and it is such an artisan. This guy who's the master, there's only one that's company, his one guy, but basically, and his team, they're the only ones approved for the Olympics. There's other there's other competitions throughout the year, 4 years, right? Always. And they can get their stones from one of the other few that make it, but you're limited to 10 in the whole world. But this guy is the guy for the Olympics, and watching him make it and what they had to do, it's insane. They, and shockingly, I guess they have a set of 6 of them. They get a set, whatever it is. And it's roughly $950 a piece, about $6,000, which I thought would be more. but several thousands of dollars to have a set from him. But it is remarkable, and it is so scientific now. I guess the old days, but even watching him work on it, it's still very physical. He's got a grinder in his hand. I mean, he's still manual. I mean, he's an older guy, but he's looked kind of ripped for an older guy like me, older guy. But he was, I mean, just grinding it and working it, very physical still, as though he had the laser designs. But anyway, fascinating. If you want to go look that up, it's so cool how they make the stone that they use in curling. All right.
Okay. Because I would think they would just use lasers or something and just cut it and be done.
No, so that's so much to it. It's fascinating.
Okay. Well, I will go ogle over that after this episode.
All right. Now get to the
So we have this guy, this Canadian who there's a picture, which it's so hilarious because basically he was accused of giving it a little tap with his finger, just enough to get the stone where he wanted it to be. And he's accused of it. And in the interviews, he literally says, I didn't bleepity bleep touch it. And, swore on everything high and low that, he didn't touch it. He didn't cheat. And there's a very clear picture that's being memed like crazy of him touching that stone. And so they've photoshopped him touching all these different athletes, making them trip throughout the Olympics. Like this is like he's causing all these different things in the Olympics. So he was caught red-handed. So
or red-fingered. Yeah, red-fingered.
Yes, there you go. So anyways, you'll probably see memes like that floating around. But that's
good. I hadn't seen the memes. I need to look at it because I did see a clip of him hollering at the competitor. And I mean, I come across some of these and I always forget. If it's Facebook, sometimes, they're not edited.
Plenty of
they're not
expletives,
not bleeped out. And he was just foul-mouthed that guy to death. I thought, I was trying to click off this thing. Get me off of this. So I thought, well, he only has a few words in his vocabulary, apparently, because he could only use like one or two, it seemed like to me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, apparently good at curling, but doesn't seem like the most intelligent guy. But that's like I'm being mean now. Sorry, but but that's the big cheating scandal.
As was it Macbeth? Thou doth protest too much. Him screaming like that. I didn't, and then photographic evidence says otherwise.
No, it's so funny, so funny. So, anyways,
okay.
So that was the big beef.
I don't think he's going to have his pictures on the Wheaties box. What do you think?
Wheaties is for the true heroes. His image is being plastered everywhere though. So, okay. Speaking of cheating, there's another story of a guy named Sturla Lygreid. I'm not sure how you say it. He is a Norwegian biathlete, and basically he in an interview he just kind of. He's just an open book. Like he's kind of won my heart because he just has his heart on his sleeve, but he was too open of a book. He was talking about this long journey that it's taken to get here and how he cheated on his girlfriend recently and had to confess that to her. And he just kind of spills the beans. And anyways, it of course turned into a massive thing. His girlfriend unintentionally, inadvertently was in this massive spotlight, of course, with the internet. And so she got put in a big, tough position. So his quote is, I deeply regret sharing this personal story. My apologies go to Johan Olav, who deserved the attention after winning gold. I guess he was the bronze winner in this event when he got interviewed. They also go to my ex-girlfriend who unwillingly ended up in the media spotlight.
So at first I heard it was that's how she found out.
That would obviously be a juicier story, but I'm pretty sure it was just him saying it was part of saying he's been through a lot, and he just I think he was really emotional and he just accidentally spilled too many beans. So
they were the wrong beans, that's for sure.
Right. So anyways, that was kind of bless everybody's heart in that situation, and hopefully he learns his lesson and doesn't cheat anymore on his
right. That's the main lesson here, I think.
But to be fair, he hasn't been accused of cheating in his event, so good for him compared to some of these other athletes. Okay, now this isn't a cheating thing. But one of our American athletes, a snowboarder named Nathan Perry, I believe is how you say his name. He was disqualified in a really controversial decision. And this is going to get to my next level of xenophobia this episode, which is, what is the deal with the French judges in the Olympics?
Yeah.
These judges are like the refs for the Kansas City Chiefs last season, where it's like, how much have they been paid, And so Nathan Perry, I forget what, I think they call it Bordeaux cross or cross country snowboarding. Like I heard it a couple ways. But it's like they're bouncing up and down all these hills and doing jumps, and it's like really cool, like doing these really sharp turns, in like a 4-person race. And so, basically in this instance, Nathan Perry, he ended up winning. He was behind the whole time, made an epic comeback at the very end to beat the two, anyways, to get first place in this event. And so it was a big deal. He was stoked. He was celebrating. But then they said the race was under review because one of the racers he wiped out halfway down. And upon review, you could see that basically there was incidental contact, is what the commentators were calling it, where on this sharp turn, their boards touched and the one guy wiped out.
Yeah.
And the French, I guess a French judge or multiple were part of this. They ruled it as like an intentional contact to wipe this guy out and disqualified Nathan Perry. So, and he lost his gold medal. So that was obviously heartbreaking for him. And people are super up in arms about that online, and basically saying, like, the argument is, well, why are you sending them all at the same time? Like there's gonna be some incidental contact if they're all that close. The turns are that sharp. And so if it's really that big of a deal, just send them individually on time trials. So anyways, any thoughts there, Dan?
No, there's been historically forever. You get upheaval in some of the judging issues, right? And especially if it's a country who doesn't like you, or they're politically not thrilled and in your camp. Because do you have the other one with the French judge from the skaters?
Yeah.
We ended up with silver. Yeah. So that is, all I'm saying is that's not uncommon. That to me is going with the Olympics. As long as I've been alive, there'll be a rogue judge in there that just screws you. Like, you know how they give you points. It'll be like the individual performance on skating, and everybody's got, like, I don't even know what the skating system is anymore, but 9.2, there's like 4 judges, 9.2, 9.3, 9.1, 9.2, and then an 8 or 7, in the old days, it used to be the Russian, right? The USSR's judge, or the East German judge, it was so obvious. They would just tank the US guy. I mean, it was part of it. So it's not as bad as it used to be when we had the communist bloc, when you had the East Germans and the Russians, and that it used to be worse, I think, in certain times. So believe it or not, but those dang French. Now I can get on board with busting the French's chops.
Yeah. And that's what for some reason, Caleb, my brother, and I both decided to study French in high school. And I loved it back then. I loved the culturals. They've obviously made wonderful cultural contributions.
Oh, they got. But we always had to save their butts. So, World Wars.
Definitely some centuries old feelings there. Okay. Well, speaking of French judges and Americans getting gypped, the next biggest story is Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, married figure skating couple. They're beloved for having this cute love story, and they've been stars in the Olympics before and figure skating. So they basically were in a position where this French judge, he gave just enough of a boost to the French figure skating couple, and just enough of like took away just enough points on his score to Madison and Evan, that basically put them in second place behind the French. And so people are super ticked about that, of course.
I just saw the U.S. Olympic Committee came out with a statement today. They will not be filing a grievance or they're not going to question.
An appeal.
An appeal. They're going to accept it and move on.
Crazy. Well, I'm sure Madison and Evan. So I mean, maybe they're getting even more attention than they would have if they
Right.
won gold because of this.
Well,
So
they're gold
I
in
don't.
our hearts, right?
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So that was a big story there. Okay. I got a couple more for you. I'm going to keep firing them off.
All right, get them.
So speaking of figure skating, we've got this guy named Ilya Malinin. I'm not even sure how you say his name. You're shaking your head like you know him, Dad. You've heard of
I
this?
know this. The Quad God.
Oh, I haven't heard of that. Was that?
That's his nickname. Is this the guy that fell and he's supposed to be the gold?
Yes.
He doesn't
Yeah.
sound like an American, so he's a transplant. That was his nickname. You didn't see that?
No, I haven't seen that.
They
It's just
call
because his
him-
quads are so crazy.
No, they call him the Quad God because he could do the quadruple
Oh,
so well.
Okay.
He was the best in the world at it.
Okay.
So-
Just
so
jumping
I've
up
got
and
a
doing a
couple-
quadruple spin.
I
Is
think
that what that means?
it's a quadruple, whatever. That's their
360 times 4, whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever, some crazy ability to. But they call it was all over the place. I don't normally see it, but they called it. I was a little uncomfortable at it, but I could understand. I thought hopefully he didn't
Right.
name himself that. No wonder he had problems, but he got
Right.
zapped for being the Quad God. Yeah, that's the nickname. I thought
Wow.
Look
No,
that
that's
up.
cool.
Google
Well,
it
that
real
makes
quick.
even-
You'll see it everywhere. The Quad God.
Well, that's a lot easier to say than Ilya Malinin or however you say it.
That's probably why
But-
they gave him that name.
And I am curious where he transplanted from or why he's representing the U.S. Maybe his parents were immigrants or something. But yeah, pretty unique name for an American, obviously. But he had 2 rounds with wipeouts, and so he ended up he was favored for gold, but ended up in 8th place. So that was it was a rough year for
Painful.
him. Bless his heart. Yeah.
Did you read his mom? Actually, we were
Nothing.
talking about this. Anyway, here's my statement. It's about squeezing people too, not about the character, but also he seems pretty emotionally fragile, which some of these athletes can be, right? They can be tough at the same time mentally. So this is what mom said, make you bring up, and it's so true. What does it really take? What's the mental psyche? And I'm convinced there's 2 types of mental psyches at this level. They get to be the best in the world. They have success for certain things. But when it comes to the pinnacle, what they're chasing, be it the Masters with Rory, took him 16 years, right? You saw how
Yeah.
he mentally collapsed when he finally did it. The Olympics are really, right, the peak for all these people who don't make a lot of money professionally doing some of this. This is, but it's always so impressed, number one, with those who perform the best under the most pressure, right? The old diamond. They're the diamonds because you squeeze them, the harder you squeeze them, the better they do. Michael Jordan, right? Probably one of the greatest finisher of all times, of just true killer instinct. Whatever it took, he would win. He would not fold under pressure in his peak. I mean, so you pick whoever, and then you'll find some, especially this Olympic level, who do have he apparently had some real fragile feelings about this afterwards. And it was really hard on me. He kept talking about he mentally thought he had been in a good space, but then when he started, he just wasn't. So anyway, sound like mental health almost discussion, right?
Oh, so like the pressure of the games, you think got to him.
Got to him, man. And he's talking about how. So I think some athletes like this, I think it is. Some of them do battle maybe some mental health
For sure.
challenges for some of them. But then so what is the difference about the makeup of different athletes? Because some athletes absolutely thrive on the intensity and increased pressure. They do their best. Others collapse and fold. So my question is, I don't have the answer. What is the difference of that mental makeup?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a collapse and fold guy, so I could talk from that perspective probably. But yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, just even at work, when the deadline, I mean, I don't know. I always figure out how to make it happen somehow or other, but it's usually just not. Usually when the pressure is really, really intense, I'll get the job done, but maybe just not as good as I might normally. Which I guess maybe is how you.
Well, it depends. Your world's a little different, but so anyway, I just find that fascinating, and he's an example of somebody who I think he just didn't, under pressure, under the final biggest gun, he just didn't do it, and he's like the best in the world at this.
Yeah. Well, maybe in 4 years we'll be seeing an amazing redemption story for this guy.
That would be great. It'd be great
a name to remember if you can figure out how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of collapsing, see, I've got the
So many
speaking
negative
of
things. What's this? No, I'm just kidding.
no, I was gonna say the speaking of transitions have been spot on this episode. I feel like everything's been flowing perfectly into the next thing. Speaking of collapsing, the U.S. sled team, which I know all these events they do multiple runs and like
Right.
kind of average their score. So I'm not sure
Yes.
which run any of this was and any of these things we're talking about.
Oh, this is
But there was
good.
a bobsled run where one of the teammates tripped, and all three of the three back guys in
Yeah,
the
the
bobsled
driver
out,
got in. Yeah, the driver
Yeah.
got in, and then
and is the only one that stayed.
all you know what broke loose after that.
So,
Have you? I've watched that thing over and over, and I just feel for
Yeah.
them, but you almost can't help but laugh. Hopefully, they can laugh at each other because it's almost comical, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully they took that attitude because
I
it
mean,
was
after
so
working at it
bad.
for years, yeah. I mean, it's easy for us to laugh. They probably
know.
were ticked, but
But
it is a
usually,
funny sight.
if it's the trials, a lot of times they get to throw out one of them. I think
Okay, so maybe
hopefully.
is
They don't all get averaged in. Sometimes you get to throw out one. They take your average, your top two. I don't. We have to go back and see,
Okay.
or somebody who knows. So hopefully they got to throw that one out because
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it,
That one was too funny. I'll try to get a clip for
a
social.
truly bless your heart moment if you're from the South.
Well, and the team, whatever teammate caused the chain reaction, I mean, you'd have to get over some tough feelings for that teammate. That's for sure. But it's pretty cool though. The cool part of that story is that the driver, it's obviously an incredibly fast and dangerous event.
Yeah.
And the person in the back of the bobsled is the one who runs the brakes. And so this guy, he bombed the whole track. No brakes, no the two middle guys are for stability, I guess.
Yeah.
So they weren't there to help with stability. And so he does the whole thing all on his own. And at the end, when it's time to stop, he just kind of he lifted up, hoisted himself back, and pulled the brakes himself to end the thing. So he was a champ.
That is remarkable.
That was pretty cool to see.
That's remarkable.
So,
makes me
I don't think
of
the time was very good, but
it makes me think of just amazing. Yeah, some people do amazing things. You probably won't know him, but Bodie Miller was a big giant slalom downhill skier in the early 2000s, 1990s. Bodie Miller, B-O-D Miller, unbelievable. Was great. They were re-showing that run this morning. I saw it on a clip that I forgot where he kind of caught an edge at the top of the mountain and clipped off one of his skis. And then he still skied the entire run with one ski holding his foot up and slalom the entire run and made it. Now, his time wasn't what it normally, but he did it. It is worth seeing. That leg had to be so tired. He held that thing up all the way down. Yeah, Bodie Miller. You had to look up that one skied run and it'll show up. But
that is so cool. Okay. The last thing I wanted to mention is that Colin Yost or Jost, however you say his name, he's a SNL alumni. I know you're not a big SNL fan, Dad, but he's
many decades ago. Yes. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think the peak was, they've had a few peak periods, but I love those 90s DVDs. But yeah, Colin Yost, he's married to Scarlett Johansson, if you don't know him, and all around funny guy, does a lot with NBC. And so they did a little feature with him. He went bobsledding at Lake Placid, which is one of the few places you can train for bobsledding still, at least in America. And I just want to read his quote because I feel like we see the Olympics and we're just like, I don't know. We don't really know what's going on. It's easy to get bored sometimes, and we're not invested in. We don't know all these people's names. So I think I just want to take a moment to appreciate the athleticism of people like that. We might think it's easy to just jump in a bobsled and fall down an icy tube, But he said Colin Yost was taken on a bobsled ride, and his quote was, "I was not prepared for the level of terror of this bobsled. I swear I thought I was going to die. I thought my back was going to snap in half and my bones were going to fly off my body." He said, "It was by far the scariest experience I've ever had in my life."
Wow.
So I thought it was a cool, I mean, he's obviously he's dramatizing it a little bit as a comedian, but
I could yes. Just average humans like us. I am so you're right. We take for granted the skill set, and I mean, we think it's so cool looking, and they're bombing down a mountain 80 to 90 miles an hour, or down a sled, 70, 80 miles an hour, and there's nothing, especially a skeleton. There's a tiny little rail between you and the ice going.
Right.
Like I said, falling on ice is not comfortable, or getting cut up and razor. Anyway, yeah, that's
Yeah.
great tribute.
I'll also share a link to the Instagram later. I found a YouTuber who's doing a series called Out of Shape Olympics, and I guess she's a big enough influencer that she's been hooked up with these different. She's been able to go. I think she got to do the skeleton among some other events, and she's self-proclaimed out of shape, and she kind of talks about her experience attempting these events that might look easy to people, but they're obviously crazy difficult. So yeah, props to all the Olympic athletes. And I gotta say, America, I think, let's see, current standings we're number 4 in the overall medal count, but I'm proud that we haven't been accused of any major cheating yet. So good job, too. America. Way to have a little integrity.
Keep it
up. I'm on Nathan Perry's side as far as his controversial judging with his snowboarding event. So you're another one. You're gold in our hearts.
That's
and
right.
Good luck to the rest of the athletes this next week.
All right.
So,
close with the women's hockey team.
Sorry, I forgot you had a thing, Dad.
Just briefly. We are dominating like no other. So we've won 6. We're 6-0. We've made it to the gold medal round. There's one more game this afternoon. The Canadians are expected to be there apparently. So, but here's the crazy part. I guess Mom was reading this to me. I told her she was trying to find something. I think they won 4. They had 4 in a row of their 6 wins. 4 in a row were 0. They held their opponents to 0 goals, which was a record.
Wow.
But here's the crazy part. They have outscored in the 6 games. They have outscored the other teams. These are the best of the world, right? And women's hockey is picking up pace. They outscored the other teams 31-1.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that drastic. So over 6 games, so that's an average of 5 or 6 goals a game, I guess. Holy
and
there's
only been 1 goal scored against them in all 6 games.
So
they're supposed to dominate. They've already beat the Canadians once really badly. But I think it's the Canadians going to have a really good player back. But they're expected to dominate and win the gold medal game. But I don't know. That sounds like absolute dominance to me in the world of hockey. Women or men.
Cool.
Our men are 3-0 right now, and they've got a lot of work cut out. But the women are just slaying it. So hats off to them, and hopefully they'll clobber them in the gold medal game, and I'll walk away with gold medals.
Well, yeah. Next week we'll have a good hockey update, men's and women's. We'll wrap that up, and I know there's like one main character I've seen in headlines on the women's hockey team that we need to establish who she is next week.
Okay.
Because it seems like she's been a hero. So.
That's what I had. That's great.
Okay. Well, thanks for sticking around, Dad. But yeah, enjoy the Olympics, everyone. Those are some of the key moments that have gone on so far. I know we talked about kind of the juicy news bite kind of stuff, but next week, hopefully we'll have some heroes to come at you with, and then we'll get ready for our post-Olympic podcast season. All right, Dad.
Good. All right, man.
Have a great day.
All right,
love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
SportSense.